It's nearly been close to 10 hours, but you cannot escape the fact that in the Chess Olympiad, we witnessed truly something spectacular. Many people called it taking water out of stone. That is almost considered impossible. But Gukesh did that in the game versus China yesterday. India versus China was touted to be the clutch moment where a team would actually do well in the Olympiad. It was the ultimate acid test. The India women's team had done their bit, beating a strong Georgia side 3-1. Gukesh's other three compatriots in Pragnananda, Arjun Erigaisi and Pentala Harikrishna all drew their games. Now came the clutch moment. He realized that he had to win, because they didn't want to concede any advantage either to Vietnam or Iran, who are right behind them, as well as to even Uzbekistan. Gukesh then decided that yes, he had to go for the win. Draw was out of the equation, but he was up against Wei Yi. The only individual who has kept China alive in the entire race is Wei Yi. Ding Lijian had been rested, so it was a test case of okay, if you have to get through to Ding, you have to go past Wei Yi. And Gukesh, when you look at it, this was the position that you had encountered for most of the match. For close to 4.5 to 5 hours, Gukesh was in this position. Now the knights were the only thing that he had, the two knights, plus if you look at it, he had only a rook and the 3 pawns. On the pawn advantage, it was equal. Peter Swidler and all the other commentators who were there, all able grandmasters and from years and years of experience, they said that if you look at it objectively, it is a drawn position. And even the Indians agreed that yes, it is a drawn position, you can't get anything out of that. When you go further ahead, this is the current situation. But keep your eye on these two pawns, these two files here, the one on the H file, the one on the A file. This was going to make a difference, because everybody agreed that if you have to have a realistic chance of winning, you had to take the A pawn also, then you would get an advantage here. But then something turned towards the 5th hour of the match, which ensured Gukesh built up the pressure. Imagine having to win with 2 knights and a rook. That is simply not possible. It's not that common. But Gukesh managed it, because look at it. Towards the fag end, when Wei Yi moved his pawn to H3, that was the blunder. That ensured that the Indian realized that yes, now I have taken the F pawn and I am about to queen it. But Gukesh, he knew the pressure that the Wei Yi buckled. He should have played this earlier, kept the pawn on H4. Because what would have happened by this is, the knight could have easily taken it. There was no problems then whatsoever at this stage. But the 2 knights were already cornering the king. And with the H3 move, he blundered. The Indian seized an advantage at this point. But then, when that pawns were exchanged, when this knight took the pawn on H2, and this knight was just threatening a check with the pawn on F3, then you realized Wei Yi had blundered. He had actually crumbled under pressure. Gukesh had grounded out such a brilliant endgame, it kind of reminded you of Magnus's thing. Magnus Carlsen's brilliance was always that he would never give up in the endgame. He had such a strong positional endgame situation, he would never give up. So, miraculously, with just the 2 knights, and with the knight having nowhere, and with the rook having nowhere to go, and with the queen, almost this pawn becoming a queen, it was all but done. Gukesh had achieved the miracle by ensuring with these 2 knights, plus with the F pawn, he had managed to pull out one of the greatest victories that you can talk about in the Chess Olympiad. A simple H pawn blunder by Wei Yi, and Gukesh's brilliance with the attacking F pawn plus his 2 knights ensured that yes, the king had nowhere to go. Because of this, India managed to beat China in the Olympiad 2.5 to 1.5, and it is one of the most crucial wins which will ensure in a long way that India can dream of gold. If India can get the gold in both the men's and the women's category, it is truly going to be a historic thing for Indian chess, because this golden generation would have indeed literally won gold. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this video. Subscribe to Sports Today for all the latest news and analysis.